I want you to picture this. You just moved into your dream house, and as you go into the backyard to sit on your porch, have a cup of coffee, you look to your left and you notice, boom, a huge tower. And you ask yourself, should I be concerned? If you've clicked on this video, that might be why you're here. I was recently reading Reddit and I wanted to share with you an answer that may help you understand what that big tower is in the backyard. So let's go to Reddit and take a look. One of the reasons I want to show you this post from CaniballBass in particular today is because it contains one of the most well-written, well-articulated, and well-thought-out comments and responses on the subject that I think I've ever seen. So here is the original post from CaniballBass, and it says, "What is in the neighbor's backyard?" If we page down, we see here that my wife and I were told to inquire about, well, what is this thing? It's about 100 feet away, and we're looking to buy this house. Should we be worried? Will it cause interference to our electronics? This is the response from HamsterDave, which I think is an absolutely great response. This is my dream antenna setup, is what it is. Yes, you should be worried. Your neighbor is almost certainly a huge nerd. He is going to talk about radio stuff all the time. You should ask for a station tour and he will immediately be your friend. HamsterDave goes on to say, in all seriousness, no, you don't have to worry. That is an antenna stack for transmitting on multiple frequencies from 7 megahertz to 144 megahertz. Even at several times more power than we operators can use, radio waves of the frequencies your neighbor will use are not dangerous to the humans at a distance of more than a few feet. Though regulations require we evaluate how much we're exposing neighbors and such, just to make sure we don't come anywhere near those levels, at the distance your house is from that antenna, your cell phone in your pocket is exposing you to more RF or radio frequencies at more concerning frequencies. It's very well articulated about what the equipment is. It's very articulative of what frequencies it would operate on and why it most likely wouldn't be a concern. A very well thought out post. But then he goes on a little bit further, and I do love this part too. That is a crank up tower, so it will extend up in the air when he is using it, even further reducing any exposure you might encounter. The signal strength below the antenna is quite low compared to straight in front of it. The one thing you might have to deal with is an occasional issue with cheap electronics doing weird things when exposed to RF fields. The one thing you might have to deal with is occasional issues with very cheap electronics doing weird things when exposed to strong RF fields. Think back to what cell phones did to PC speakers in the 90s and the 2000s. If you end up with weird Charlie Brown teacher type noise from the TV or the like, or cheap touch lamps flickering, interference from his radios may be the cause. And I really like how it was described, the Charlie Brown's teacher noise, because I think that most people can articulate or are aware of the Charlie Brown teacher. It goes on to clarify, though, a little more why the interference might be actually happening. It's a problem caused by poor engineering in the electronics, not an issue with the radios. However, if you approach in a neighborly fashion, most hams are happy to help you sort out the issue. It's almost always easy to be fixed with a couple inexpensive devices clipped on the power or audio cables of the affected appliance. I haven't had a neighbor complain about my station since I moved in this townhouse 12 years ago, though I have had to ask permission to chase down something in the neighborhood that was making a terrible noise to my receiver once. That said, 99% chance you'll never even know when he's transmitting, other than his tower being cranked up. Most electronics these days are built well enough that it's rarely a problem. Wired PC gaming headsets seem to be the one thing I still hear regular complaints about, but that's an easy fix. HamsterDave had one remarkable response, and I want to really just point out that that could be very helpful to a lot of non-hams. All of a sudden, what is this in my backyard? Oh, that's a great response. It's a tower. This is where it operates. There shouldn't be any issues. If you have any interference, reaching out to your neighbor might help you. Some of the best suggestions and a well thought out, well articulated response. With that, I hope you have a good one. Thanks for watching the channel 73. But wait a minute, if you clicked this video because you weren't sure what that tower was, you definitely don't know what 73 is. Simply put, 73 means best regards.